Hello, we are Cabin Fever and we're performing our new performance Double O here at the Axis Arts Centre on Thursday the 9th of March 2017. Come and watch.
It's at 6:45
PM. So the company came about in March 2015,
Yep.
St Paddy's Day. We were having a few beverages outside
White Horse pub in Nantwich. Yep. Which was we were studying contemporary theatre and performance at MMU.
Yeah, we were students at this time.
Yeah.
And our third year was approaching and we had to decide what we wanted to do for the open projects.
Mhm.
And I think one of the major snooker tournaments were on or had just finished around about that
It
time.
would have been the Welsh.
It was you actually that said,
Was it me?
you initially came up with the idea of why don't we just get a
Does that mean if we separate and we get a divorce, that means I get ownership?
50-50. So it came about then, and we decided to work together for our open projects in our final year of contemporary theatre at MMU.
Well, we had for 2 years. We worked together on every piece part one, didn't we?
So it started in our second year. Comp Strats
Yeah, with the piece Struck by Got Balls.
on the end of the second year
Blame.
directed project.
Blame with Kevin Egan, directed
Yeah.
by Kevin Egan. Then it's sort of probably the first piece, which was As Cabin Fever, was 5 minutes 20 seconds.
Yeah.
We didn't work together on our artist projects.
Then we reunited.
Final project, which was Mancraft by Unsophistication.
Yeah,
That's what we called it. Yeah,
And that's how we came about.
that is that. That was that's the formation.
Bit history.
Absolutely, you can do that. You can start doing it.
So Double O is a piece on the surface which is about James Bond and the James Bond world, the James Bond franchise, which has been running for 55
No, how old?
years this year. As the piece goes on, I suppose you could say it becomes less about Commander Bond and more about Ed and myself
Yep.
and our connections and our relationships with each other, and is heritage, being from a place, being proud of a place.
Yeah, I mean, it plays on a lot of nostalgia, almost a nostalgia for things before our time, which is a bit of a bizarre thing. I mean, we're playing music before we were born. We're talking about actors who were in their heyday, a lot of them before we were born, films before we were born, which I think is an interesting sort of confusion almost when we're talking about something which happened in 1973 and we obviously weren't around then. It talks about what it means to look up to these masculine role models as a man. It sort of explores about whether the people as kids we looked up to, thinking they are what a man should be, whether they actually were,
Yeah.
if they actually potentially had a negative influence on who we are.
What I've enjoyed most is because it's pretty much a follow-on from our previous performance, 5 minutes 20 seconds, is finding more true narratives and stories that coincidentally or uncoincidentally connect us together more as a duo, I think. Yeah.
Well, something I've liked is case of more and more so we it touched upon in 520 all the pieces about us and our background, so they formed from the Midlands, but it's a case of the piece is even more
Rooted now.
yeah, it can't have come out of anywhere else. They couldn't have happened anywhere else physically. So I mean that's nice, and for us being two very proud people from the Midlands, it's nice to literally
And
put
that's
it on
nice
that.
because every time we have a rehearsal and we meet up, I think we take ownership of it even more so. Finding more little snippets of, things that bring us together each time, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
Because every rehearsal is something different then and something we might discover a little bit more.
Yeah.
Now we're not students, technically. The challenges, the challenges have been just maybe things that we might have taken a bit for granted when we were students, like having access to book the rooms out, using the tech, just the everyday things which you don't really appreciate as much.
Yeah, and obviously now we're
When
not
you're at uni.
living a
10 minutes away, yeah.
Well, we were like a 2-minute walk away, weren't we?
Mm.
Now we are an hour's drive from one another because we're rehearsing in crew. I mean, that's how long does it take you to get here?
If I put my foot down,
Well, let's stick to let's stick to hypothetical speed limits.
from my house, say an hour and 10.
You see, and
minutes,
from mine it takes 2 to 3
give or
hours.
take a few.
3 hours here and back, so 6 hours, let's say, in the car to come here and
Which
rehearse
is a
for
lot
2
of
hours.
petrol.
It is 25 quid a week it costs to get here.
But the challenges have just been the realisation of having to go from student to adult, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
simple things like when we're not working at the same time, so finding days in the week to meet up and
I think there's the pressure of doing it outside of a sort of an undergrad,
yeah.
because it almost, you could, if you failed, it was me like, oh, I get a bad mark, okay, but there's worse things. Now if we fail,
We fail.
we
Yeah.
literally fail in the real world, and that, so the added pressure of it, which is, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's nice to have that pressure.
It's
because
exciting,
It's
yeah.
exciting, but I mean, it's exciting in the same way, but maybe jumping out of the plane and not knowing if your parachute works.
Yeah.
You'll find out on the way, one way or the other,
Until
where it's
you
going
do
to
it,
work.
you
But
won't
until
know.
you- yeah,
You won't know.
yeah.
Shall I go first?
Well, you're going first on every single one. So why
Okay,
not?
so I'm now working full time.
Say what, say
I work in
what.
a country pub called the Talbot, which is in Belbourne, which is about 5 or 10 minutes.
What
out.
county is that?
Worcestershire, actually.
Is it in
That's
Worcestershire?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
classed as Worcestershire. So I'm working full time there and have been since just before Christmas.
I'm working at the Wharf Inn in Welford, Northamptonshire. I'm also now working at the Sugarloaf
Oh, hello.
in
Two
Market
jobs.
Harbour, Leicestershire, which is Wetherspoons. Getting back into real life again, you know.
Mm.
And that kind of weird place of you're a graduate, but you
It's,
live at home.
it's
and
difficult
weird.
because we have to work for a living now, I suppose.
do, we don't-
Instead of
yeah.
relying on the government for
to give us money.
And at
On
the
the
same
agreement
time-
that at some point we
yeah.
might give it back if we have enough money ever to give it back.
So we've just been doing jobs to keep ourselves getting by, but at the same time trying to, carry this partnership on, which has been nice and challenging.
You make it sound like that's a...
Like a marriage.
I was going to say it sounds like I thought it was like a wry, backhanded... I didn't realise it was that difficult to do.
No, you're all right.
Thanks, mate. So-
The main piece of advice I'll give is, I think we've just touched on that, is utilise the facilities that you have.
Yeah.
And just don't take them for granted. If there's technicians, the technicians are an absolute wonder
They are
to help.
fantastic, yeah.
And if you need anything, go and talk to them. Utilise the spaces that you have here, because once you're gone, you are gone, and it's very difficult when you work.
Do, and be adventurous with your ideas and put them to... I mean I'm going to sound all vain now. I've had a case of in my first year I put my car in a space.
The platform for...
Oh yeah, we built a great big long platform from one side of space to another. We put a 1.3 ton snooker table in space,
Yeah.
and then we built a 15-foot long by 8-foot high wall, which
Yeah.
then moved around. Be adventurous, because once you get out of that, and hopefully people do want to continue making work and being exciting, but being new on the stage, people don't particularly. It's a big risk to say I'm going to do this piece and it's got all this tech.
And go and see as much stuff as you possibly can. There's going to be stuff that will not relate to you or you won't find interesting whatsoever, but that's not necessarily a bad thing,
No, it's
because
not a
then
bad
you
thing at all.
can cut yourself out from that side.
Also,
of things
I
that you
think
don't like.
don't pigeonhole you into your course.
Mm.
Don't. I do CTP, so I'm going to go see contemporary performances. Go and see everything which you can of all different mediums, because you will get ideas. Like, we use a lot of music in our piece. We didn't study music, we can't do music, but it's become a massive influence. Go where, when you're back at home, if you're not from around here, go to wherever your local venues are and support it and see what is out there, because odds are you will see some pieces which completely shift how you view theatre.
So next for Cabin Fever is we want to do a trilogy. So it started off 5 minutes 20 seconds,
Which we intend to expand onto an hour long.
Yeah, expand and create an hour long piece. Next is obviously this performance, which we're doing 9th of March here in the Axis Arts Centre. And then thirdly is going to be a trilogy piece, which will again explore...
even more so it's about the Midlands, isn't it?
Even more so it's about the Midlands, and it will even more explore our relationship between one another, and again...
Yeah. That's what, there's something which the two standing performances in the piece we're looking into creating now, beyond these two, they expose the similarities but also the differences between us as people. And this idea, which we are being unbelievably cagey about right now, again, it will sort of push our relationship to breaking point.
You know, we are from a specific place and we are proud from it, and we had this conversation a few months ago, is that everything at the moment seems to be, no disrespect to these places, but either right up the north or, you know, down in London way, or in,
and people identify themselves as being northern and southern, and we are not.
We're not from there, and we're proud of where we come from, and we want to sing and dance about that as much as we
Absolutely,
can.
and give it a voice on stage, because it's a place which we feel, these are places which haven't really been
noted for what they are.
It's just a gap in between Manchester and London, which you wander by on the train. But it's not. It is where we're from, and there is so much to talk about from it, and that's what we intend to do.